everyone, it's Lucy from My Crazy Craft Life, and I'm here today with a design team post for Scrapping for Less. So since this month has been all about unbelievable things, I am using the Fawn stamp set, Believe in Yourself. And that has that little jackalope, a jackrabbit and an antelope, yes, a jackalope. And it says I believe in yourself, and then in parentheses it says I believe in you. So I'm going to be making a few cards, and I'm going to be using that stamp set. I'm going to be using the 6x6 paper pad Knock on Wood from Lawn Fawn. I'm going to be using Lawn Fawn's Spring Sprig die that we actually got in the April of 2018 Flavor of the Month card kit, the banana split level. And then I'm going to be using Paper Smooch's Loopy Leaf die that we got in August of 2017's Flavor of the Month card kit. And I colored these images up. There's not a lot of coloring in this today with some Copics, and I showed you the colors there. And then I'm going to be putting together 4 different cards using the same papers, the same stamps, and mostly just a circle die and then the die cuts. So first off, what I did was I cut out a bunch of the loopy leaf die and the spring sprigs just to have them all on hand so I can just kind of fill them all in. I used 2 different size circles. All of these cards are A2, so they're 4.5 or 4 1/4 by 5.5 inch cards. And that was just, I have some cards that have a scalloped edge on it. They're a little bit larger, so I just kind of cut the edges off because they're craft cardstock and I really like it. The other thing I did was I used a grass die to make some grass. I layered it up, and then I'm going to use that on a couple of the circles. So I thought that would break it up a little bit. So now the colors in this paper pad are kind of rustic looking colors. So it's orange, yellow, dark brown, a light brown, a green, and then a turquoisey kind of color. And they all have a wood grain pattern on them. But I thought they ended up looking really cool once you kind of cut them up, and like I said, using the green obviously for the grass, and then cutting up the sprigs and the loopy leaf die. I did those in the colors of orange, yellow, and green because I wanted to use the dark brown and the light browns more as the backgrounds. So this first one, I am going to stamp the sentiment on the front panel of the card and heat emboss it. I stamped it with Hero Arts Unicorn ink, and then I heat embossed it with some white embossing powder. Since it's the dark brown that I used, I wanted to make sure that the sentiment really showed up. And then these are all pretty simple designs. Like I said, I just made quite a few of these different things so that I could make a bunch of the cards kind of all in one. This one I popped up on some foam tape, and I'm just going to pop it right on top of the card base. I used a white card base for this. I was just kind of straightening that out because when I cut it a little wonky. So I'm just kind of making sure, and I liked actually using the grass on there because it made it kind of like a little pocket, so I was able to kind of stick all the sprigs and the jackalope inside of the little pockets. And so I didn't have to use a lot of glue on these because, like I said, I was able just to kind of stick them all in there. So these actually ended up being really quick cards. The whole process to make all 4 cards, even though this is obviously much sped up, but it took me about an hour to cut all the dies pieces out, to color the images, to stamp the images. So it really did not take me too long to do all of this. And working with just one paper pad, I guess you want to say there's not a lot of thought into it because this is kind of what you have. Use what you got in front of you, and that's it. You got to figure it out from there. And that's kind of what I did with these. And then just cut up pieces to kind of make designs in the background of these cards. And for like this one, since I didn't have the grass to kind of I guess, hold it up or be the border. As I put the banners and the borders and different things on it, I just use those as kind of the placement to stick the jackalope or to put different things on there. This one I'm stamping with Versa. Oh, no, I'm doing the unicorn white. That's right. I wanted to use the VersaFine on the green, but I ended up grabbing the wrong one. That unicorn and the Versamark, they're both mini cubes and they look the same, and sometimes I grab the wrong one. The other thing I used on these cards was Nuvo Dream Drops in the color of Dragon Scales. So that's the other thing that I used on here. And like I said, I kept this pretty simple. I didn't add a lot of stuff to it. I used the paper pad, the dies, did some heat embossing, did some stamping and some coloring, and that is really about it. So like I said, for this one I used the banners as kind of the platform for where my little guy was going to go and sit. And like I said, I just think all of these are super cute. And with so many graduations, to kind of get away from the, I guess, standard graduation card, I think this kind of believe in yourself, you know, going to the next level, whether it's high school or they're graduating from grade school going into high school, I think it's something cute that can be used for graduations and stuff. Now there I decided to stamp in the VersaFine the black that says I believe in you. So I heat embossed that believe in yourself, and then I stamped I believe in you. And that was my second card. So on to the third. You know, I think it's fun to kind of work with limited supplies. I think it does a couple different things. One, I think on one hand it's easier because you have what's in front of you and you need to kind of figure out what to do with it and create something with it. But on the other hand, I think it kind of makes you think outside the box a little bit more than maybe what you would normally do. So by like cutting out the die cuts and using it that way, that's not something in general I would do. I mean, I think they turned out cute and I loved it, but like I said, I just think it makes you kind of think outside the box a little bit and think about different things than what you would normally do. So I definitely would highly suggest picking up a paper pad and just a stamp set and kind of using very limited supplies to come up with some ideas. And as quick as these kind of came up, once, like I said, an hour, 15 minutes a card, it's really not bad when you kind of think about it, considering that there's many times I've spent hours on one single card. And I just think that these all ended up coming out really cute. I cut a lot of the orange out, which I'm not entirely sure why, especially because I don't even like orange. But I ended up not using them, and I save them because I do end up using them later on a different card that I end up making. But like I said, I just think these are really cute, and it kind of surprised me, I guess, more so that it came out and it was as easy for me to come up with the ideas, because I think sometimes having so many gadgets and so many different tools, you can make so many different things, and sometimes I think that can be overwhelming, but I also think sometimes it's easier, like, oh yeah, I'll just do this and it'll end up, you know, just being really cool and great. Whereas when you're working with such limited things, sometimes you gotta really kind of put a little bit of more thought into it. For this one, I stamped the sentiment on the inside of the card. So I put believe in yourself on the outside, and then I believe in you on the inside. And then this is going to be my final card, and I'm going to use that grass again. And what I did was, it's about 6 inches, you know, the whole length of the grass. And I just cut it in half to kind of fit onto all of those different circles, the ones I ended up using it on. When I first started doing it, I was actually going to make more grass so that I could put it on all of them, because like I said, it's kind of cool, it's kind of easy with the pocket, and you just pop it in there and everything is good. But again, like I said, I wanted to try to come up with some different ideas and not just make them all exactly the same. So really, when I say it took an hour, it did take an hour to do all of it, but to actually put the cards together themselves, it was probably less than a half hour, because doing all the die cutting, the stamping, the coloring, cutting out the images, I just used my scan and cut to cut the images out real quick. That in itself probably took a half hour, just kind of all the prep time to get everything together. Whereas just doing the putting the actual cards together was, like I said, probably less than a half an hour to do that. So like I said, in about an hour I was able to create these 4 cards using pretty limited supplies, and that is my final one. So I hope everybody enjoyed this. You can head over to Scrapping for Less to grab the paper pad, to grab the stamp set, and the Nouveau drops are there. And I'll link the other stuff that Scrapping for Less has for that. So I hope everybody enjoyed this, and I will talk to you next time. Thanks for stopping by, and I hope everybody has a great day.